Welcome to game number 1 of tonight's PUBG EU Pro Scrims. I'm Jarvisar. Let's hop onto Miramar for the first game of the day. Ooh, little bit of stutter there to get us going, but we should more or less be fine. You just spotted 8C and Fuzzface. They're going to be playing as part of Team Atavism today. There they are, alongside Pixelic and Mixie. Should be good fun indeed as they jump to the north of the playing path. Very, very even here. 3 o'clock to 9 o'clock. Only the tiniest rotation in it. Not particularly worried about that at all. You're going to get 3 games on Miramar, followed by 3 games on Erangel this evening. And we will, of course, have all of the leaderboards available for you in Twitch chat. ! Leaderboard at any time to give you the twire.gg link for exactly where all of our teams are going to be tallying up their points tonight. Minor disagreement here by the looks of things between Mitralius of Digital Athletics, who looks to be grabbing that car, and James is going to have to float off somewhere else. That's fine. Purely grabbing vehicles to begin with. A couple of seconds will lead us to circle number 1, which we will find out about now. There we go. In between Cruz and Al Azahar, nobody here because of the plane path earlier on. So there is a lot of scope for teams to rotate in via the northern half of the circle. I imagine this is going to be fairly chilled out unless everyone wants to come in via San Martin and via this road by Graveyard. Don't think that's going to happen. You can head a couple of teams via Alcantara, La Cobb, all the way up to Torre and Cruz. You've also got teams like Question Mark who might choose to come in via Tierra Bronca and sort of come in via the north side as well. Plenty of options here in circle number 1, northeast. We appear to have just a couple of issues with the team logos. I had one last week as well in game number 1 for Twisted Minds. At least it's not the wrong logo, but I don't know why they're literally just listed as Team 02. These are, of course, Twisted Minds. I will be checking out what goes wrong in just a little bit. In fact, let me have a little peek now. Looks fine to me. Not 100% certain what happened there, but we will simply restart our client after the start of this game. And we will sort that out indeed. Exalt are back in the lobby. You can see them here. Artex, Fairest, Fate, and Molodoct are chilling out and looking to make a big points total today. EXHALATioN as well have been there or thereabouts recently. And last time we covered the scrims, we had an Entropiq chicken dinner as well, which has been positively delightful. We'll see what sort of momentum all of these folks will be able to carry on into games number 2 through 6. For now, though, we've got the most immediate priority. 3 minutes. When we start to see some very, very early rotations, now's usually the time where people are getting into cars. It doesn't look like anything is particularly urgent, judging from the mini-map. The SleepDodgers might be moving out relatively early. They were in the circle to begin with, remember? They were in and around Graveyard and Minas Generalis. So they'll have a nice clear-cut path towards the center of the circle. Mercurial have currently got that more or less on lockdown. PCIFIC Esports are thinking about this compound, which is basically as central as you can possibly get. But they have also discovered that it is already occupied. Scav and Jempty have got this very, very much as part of their territory, and I'm sure a couple of shots will be ringing out very soon indeed. Tuster looking to see if they can get a cheeky initial knock. And actually, they're showing a lot of interest in this compound. They basically want to know, Mercurial, are you going to leave this compound alone if we say we're getting poised to invade? Mercurial are holding fast at the moment. Got Copy and Page still further up north. I think as long as Mercurial demonstrate that there are multiple people here, that should be enough to force PCIFIC Esports into finding an alternative home, and indeed they do. The worry now is if PCIFIC Esports go due north, for example, and they end up ganging up on Copy or something similar. But Jempty and Scav have done a good job of pushing them out. Atavism moving into the south side of Cruz del Valle. Hasn't actually seen yet Page, but will definitely have heard the vehicle. Actually, it's a little bit quiet. We've got the Venga bus going on in Cruz as Page navigates his way through the town. Oh, you'll definitely hear that, though, as the Murado now gets picked up. Circle officially beginning to close for phase number 1. Most teams already in Toxic players. Still south of Los Leones. FaZe Clan still in and around Chumacera. The fellas are around El Pozo. And we appear to have a minor disagreement to begin with as SHEESH on the south side of San Martin manages to pick up the knock onto Batulans. Notice how Senex is not moving straight out of this warehouse compound to try and immediately take that. And that's because he knows that Batulans will have teammates overseeing. The Tab is looking for any excuse to grab a knock. If he gets the knock, he should be able to come back in for the revive. Lou and Spyro are actually going to be very aggressive with this, and they're saying, we don't like the fact that someone's been knocked early on. We're going to come over here and contest. To what extent is Senex ready to engage? He's having to be very, very quiet here. He knows that there are multiple enemies going after this knock. And where's the rest of SHEESH? Oh, they're in Hacienda. So Senex is on his own here. He doesn't want the Tab to spot him from up above. As soon as he does, Lou and Spyro will be on him like absolutely nobody's business. Has the Tab seen him? Oh, he has. Oh, he has. That's very, very important news. And Senex now is running for his life. Batulans has been rezzed. Senex just wants to get away. He might be able to steal a vehicle. He could get in that car and run away. That's what he's going to try and do. The Tab manages to get him from afar. Beautiful shot with the Midi 14. Anticipated him moving into the truck there. And SHEESH will lose a player. Knock a member of Twisted Minds early on in the game. Potential consequences will follow. Senex almost got away there, to be fair. I thought that was just fine indeed, up to a point. And here we're talking about teams using the northern road to rotate in. That's exactly what the fellas are doing right here. Vorpal Swords are coming in via the east. You can see them north of Impala. So the team's still very much bunched around the southern half of phase 1. But a couple of them are making use of the extra space available further out. Earlier commotion will indeed be spotted. FaZe Clan should suspect this is Twisted Minds based on the kill feed and the fact they probably heard a couple of the shots earlier on. They're moving in for a closer look. This could get spicy. They want to stay hidden as long as possible. And actually, the vehicle sounds from Lou might be masking FaZe Clan's presence to the Tab. Relatively chilled out approach here by FaZe Clan. Ooh. Not completely full on, but they do want to be able to get a good amount of real estate as well. Twisted Minds have moved away from this brick compound now, so the immediate danger I think is about to pass. The two EX teams, Exalt and EXHALATioN. Oh, that's going to be fun to cast, isn't it? Well, they're across the road from each other, effectively. And, or they're neighbors, in fact, and busy having at each other early on. Toxic players have found a couple of lookout spots from La Bendita to shoot in, but otherwise, nothing too massive to write home about. And Twisted Minds are going to go north of San Martin. So that's comfortably away from FaZe Clan. And where FaZe were looking to expand their territory, moving on. I should point out, by the way, that FaZe Clan aren't exactly looking to move into San Martin or anything like that. But the point is, if you have these sort of sight lines here, and you know for a fact that there are no teams in this sort of vicinity because they've moved out, it gives you more options rotating out because you can then go down into San Martin with your vehicles later on and have multiple ways to get out. As it turns out, they're probably not going to want to go north anyway because phase 2 is a 4 o'clock hard shift. So we've got the SleepDodgers here who will be relatively pleased with that. Toxic players may consider going back and grabbing Junkyard, but bear in mind that there's a lot of high ground right next to them, so they would actually rather control the high ground if they possibly can. What is going on there? EXHALATioN having a little bit of a disagreement there by the looks of things with them. I think Exalt was shooting them and BTM accidentally got run over while they were busy trying to vacate their position. I'm not 100% sure what happened there, but they're down to 3. SHEESH, who were in Hacienda, very happy to stay where they were. I don't know if it was SHEESH or Exalt who got the kill. Exalt do not have a kill, so it looks like it was SHEESH. Yes, it was. I see so Senix died early on, and Grendis managed to pick up the point there. So they went down to 3, but they managed to get a kill of their own. Toxic players have retaken Junkyard. Vorpal Swords were looking to move in on that, but a little bit too slow on the uptake. April and Blazer will be able to stop them. PCIFIC Esports are going into the valley. These cliffs are often very, very highly contested, especially when circles sort of end like one side of the road or the other. But PCIFIC, with so many teams still alive, rather than hold high ground, they want to make sure they've got a good amount of hard cover. And having the cliffs to the north and to the south, as well as the building, that is the gas station, is a safe way for them to do that right now. Rotating out's a bit trickier than if you were up top and you had more visibility, but we talk about that just a little bit later. Exalt looking like at least one of their members are getting caught out in the middle of nowhere to begin with. That's Fate. Going down to SHEESH. Hasn't got the confirmed kill yet. Where is his vehicle? His vehicle's right there. Are there tires popped on it or anything? Not on this side. Let's take a look on the other side. No, we're good. So I think he stopped to get a little bit of a peek and multiple people shot at him at the same time. I think Fate's going to get res there. Fair is going to be assisting. Still more shots coming out from SHEESH. They're very much on the edge here of Phase 2, despite being so aggressive. So they either have a very specific rotation in mind. Oh my god, that's an Orm headshot from range. Molotov absolutely caning him there, no questions asked. Arctic, if he's able to get Bib in here, they can just push in on SHEESH. The reason why SHEESH is technically still fine is because they have such a massive distance between them and Exalt that it's not a realistic prospect for a push. But you start getting 2+ knocks at the same time, you're going to be thinking about this. That is for sure. Arctic's leaving things alone for now. 17 bullets and an AWM for Molotov. Pretty much geared out of his mind for Phase 1. All teams except SHEESH and Exalt in, but the circle waits for nobody. Here's Phase 3. Okay. So remember how we were saying there were loads of circles that could end up straddling the cliffs here? It looks like this could end up being one of those. Still an opportunity for a hard shift north or south, but suddenly this gas station and the high ground either side of it is beginning to look interesting indeed. And you can see PCIFIC Esports here making a little bit of noise, just letting people know, yes, there is someone here. They perhaps don't want to have to deal with the crash or a full team of vehicles moving into their compound when there are still 17 teams left in the lobby. If it's a top 5 and even losing the fight gets you some placement points, it's a different story. But here, it's very high risk at the moment for not necessarily that much reward. So that is the reason PCIFIC Esports are making just a little bit of noise. And we do not blame them at all for that. Digital Athletics and the Woo. We haven't really followed them too much so far this game. By the south side, Mercurial, did he get spotted there by Ibby off to the right? I don't think he did. And he's actually ducked back down below the ridge. I feel like Mercurial did spot the Woo. Definitely did. That's Ibby very close to down. About 25 hit points left. Quizzy behind him. Good headshot from Mercurial. Element of surprise, not leading to any knocks, but leading to a decent amount of damage done here for Digital Athletics. And I don't think Ibby and... Oh, no, Ibby and Quizzy, they've both got vehicles available. Biestoloch is now coming out to join them as well. So there is every possibility of this resetting into a full-on fight. Mercurial has got a good amount of initial damage going, but that does not make a knock, unfortunately. It's Iroh that goes down first. EXHALATioN getting taken out by Atavism. Over here on the west side of the circle. We'll come back to that position in just a sec. But Iroh has been taken out. Big, big blow to Digital Athletics as the Woo have to decide if they want to push in on this. Ibby's around the other side of the rock formation, so that's where they spotted Iroh, off on a little bit of an angle towards FaZe Clan. Not sure about the rest of them, though, and neither is Ibby. Code Marco and Ibby both go down, as we get a little bit of a trade by the looks of things. Mercurial and Mert will make it away. The rest of the Woo collapsing in on Ibby's position. It looks like they will be able to get that res up, no problem at all. The rest of Digital Athletics now struggling just a bit. Only Mercurial left. He's the one who initiated all of this, remember. He got a good amount of damage done, but ultimately no points on the board for DA, and they're down to a single player here in game number 1. There's a shack right in front of him. Unfortunately, it's full of Fuzzface. SleepDodgers on one side, Atavism on the other, and unfortunate for DA, who go out in 16th place. Fuzzface and co up to 5 kills now. So this is where Mixie was. ES Test PLHO2, by the way, is the account that they host the scrims from. It's Mixie who's actually hosting here today. And this is the compound where EXHALATioN were eliminated by Atavism. Remember how we said there's still time for a hard shift to try and move this circle away from the gas station in the valley? We have had a hard shift south. Very much 6 o'clock hard shift here, putting many, many teams on the southern side against each other as they get squeezed into one another. Was this forced? Not yet, but the natural reaction is to move further in and close the wedge. And as you move towards the thin side of that wedge, multiple teams are bound to get very close to each other indeed. So this is FaZe Clan versus the Woo. We've got Entropiq super close by. Biestoloch there. Going to be struggling against those nades. 28 damage from the nade. Jeems will be able to clean up the rest. Exalt get eliminated by the fellas elsewhere in the meantime, as Jeems hunts the final member of the Woo. It's Quizzy, and it's beyond the next ridge. Oh, spots him moving away behind a rock. That's going to be excellent stuff. Kurexi with the bolt eliminates them as well. So FaZe Clan up to 4 kills. Entropiq now might be up next, but Jeems gets Lucarux as well. Jimbo's having an absolute barnstormer of a game so far. And these guys are technically in the blue. Going to be a big, big problem indeed. The SleepDodgers will pick up the point there. But Entropiq and SHEESH, both guests of the blue zone. Oh my god. Okay, just Entropiq, guest of the blue zone. Nail up there, absolutely finishing off SHEESH, but unfortunately also alerting FaZe Clan to their position. So we had, what, 3 or 4 teams in this little wedge? FaZe Clan seem to be the ones that survive off of that, and Entropiq are going to have to move away further into the blue. SleepDodgers have got the biggest compound in Phase 4, but they are very much towards the edge of this as well. They will know that there are teams on top. They will also know that there's not necessarily a super quick way of dealing with that right now. They kind of have to wait on FaZe Clan just a little bit. But that's okay. I mean, FaZe are not going to push in here unless they get a couple of knocks and have vehicles to steam down the side of the mountain. It's just so open that it's not the kind of thing you do at a high level. We've been surprised before, though, so very important to keep an open mind here. The fellas looking like they're moving into MTB. Junzi correctly being singled out by the fellas for saying we don't think it's a full team here. And the insta-kill with the last member of the squad is what confirms it. Vorpal Swords having a couple of DMR shots and Smash returning a couple for good measure. Another Southern Shift eliminates the Valley and the gas station entirely, by the way. That is a big, big development in this game. So going into Phase 5, we will no longer have the road as part of where the circle is going. This will probably change the way a couple of teams approach the rest of this game. Quite often, holding positions on the edge here and waiting to see if you need to move down. Relatively straightforward. Instead of doing that in sort of Phase 7 or 8, oop, there, the tab getting flashed there. And Fuzzface able to pick him up. 8C, unfortunately, will get picked off in the meantime, but still 2 alive. Atavism is hopeful of getting Fuzzface back up. Pixelic other priorities temporarily. SleepDodgers and Mossboard in particular eating a headshot from Pixelic. It's Dante who will be able to get the knock. Trading out multiple bogeys from multiple angles here, making things very difficult for all concerned. Fuzzface still not yet revived because we have Twisted Minds right next to them. Lou is that everyone just sort of wants to consolidate right now, but they're not really being given the space they need to do just that. Fuzzface finally getting picked back up. Pixelic, though, unfortunately, will get taken out himself. Spyro going for Lou, possibly at the expense of his own life. Jeems looking for more, and he's so close to getting Spyro properly knocked. Lou is now down to his last legs. Are we going to go for a V2 on the revive? We are. Jeems got so close to finishing them off there. Spyro spotted. Both members of Twisted Minds appear to get away fine. The fellas, in the meantime, are moving into Vorpal Swords. Still Kid left, looking at Clib. They've got PCIFIC Esports on the other side. We're into the top 8 now, by the way, so every team that's left in this lobby now will get a minimum of 1 placement point. They're being very disciplined with how he has chosen to peak so far. And now that Kid's put the smokes down, interestingly, Clib's choosing to get aggressive with some nades. That's nearly doing damage to Vorpal Swords. And he's going to know now, his Kid, that someone's actually pushing in actively. It's going to make him think twice about whether he wants to keep on this ridge for much longer. Illidan, the last member of SleepDodgers, is eliminated now. And it looks like toxic players are coming in behind the fellas and have decided, you know what, it's time to third party here. 3 grenades at once takes out Ruston Mar. Julian there with the credit and the knock that secures them an advantageous position. The fellas go out, so does FaZe Clan actually, and this is blown. Phase 6 wide open. So many of the teams were planning on their game plan being look around where the valley is, where the gas station is, hold high ground positions. The game plan kind of got accelerated for most teams here, if we're being honest. And the adaptability has been okay for the Vorpal Swords. April getting surprised and the rest of the team too focused on sweeping the edge of the circle. Means that there is no response possible. Kid's been spotted by Blazor off to the right. Sond and Julian still ahead of him. And I think Blazor's going to be saying, guys, let's finish this guy off and deal with everybody else later. They're not wrong. I think it's definitely a good idea to prioritize the guy who just took out one of your teammates by surprise. And you know he's somewhere there as well. It's possible toxic players don't know that Vorpal Swords are down to a solo. We're not 100% sure. From the amount of peeking done by Kid so far, I feel like they can assume a solo. Whoa, hello. There we go. Sond getting what they were looking for. And this gives toxic players the east side of the circle to play with. PCIFIC Esports are now about to get a little bit sandwiched with question mark right next door. Question mark opting to go into circle rather than squeeze around the edge, which is interesting. There's potentially scope for them to come up here and take on PCIFIC Esports. I feel like if they took on toxic players quite straight on, and that's exactly what question mark will do, They'd love a good third-party opportunity here. Twisted Minds, in the meantime, up to 7 kills already, although they are down to 3 as the tab unfortunately died earlier on in the game. They're looking to start the evening on the front foot. Good haul of points. And I don't think 4th is where they want to be either. Double drop into the middle of the zone. Because, lol, let's go ahead and grab a little bit of bait. Who is going to want to steal some of these? Nobody soon, that's for sure. A doozy might give it a go. I feel like he's the sort of guy who would. Close enough to this one that it could be interesting, provided the rest of the team realize that. I think, though, Twisted Minds are going to keep it at bay for everyone, unfortunately. We'll wait and see. Batulins has a broken vest. Oh, he's a man on the mission. He's going for it. A doozy gets Spyro in the meantime, and I think it might be mission to grab new vest aborted right now. Won't be able to get the knock onto a doozy. This Molotov could be good. Slightly long, but a doozy was gone by the time that happened. Batulin's effectively taking on all comers now. As PCIFIC Esports get involved. Blue spotted through the smoke by Hoba. Tuster holding on against all of Toxic players. We jump to this fight briefly. Dante is third partying, forcing him to move forward. 14 hit points and a dream. Looking for Sond. Gets him. There's only one member of the team left. Oh, it doesn't matter. Sond goes down. Blazer will be able to finish him off. And as a result, he should be able to get Julian. Twisted Minds now down to 1, courtesy of Question Mark. Lou in a 1v3. It's him versus Hoba and a doozy. Flashbangs out. It's a good one. Very, very close to Lou. Not 100% sure if it was right on the money. Oh, it might not matter. It's a 1v1. Twisted Minds up to 5 kills. Can they make it 6 with a doozy? They're into the top 3. Toxic players want to absolutely take control of this situation. Blazer and Julian are now in prime position to win the game. They've got the high ground. And it's a 2v1v1. A doozy's been spotted as well. Lou's seen him. I like this flank heading in towards where Lou is. And they're in phase 8 as well. This is good from the Toxic players. Understand that Aduzi's a little further up. Twisted Minds eliminated in 3rd. Beautiful angle from Blazer. Not much you could have done about it. It's now an Aduzi 1v2. And we have seen him do this before. Never, ever write him off. But a 1v2 at range is difficult as well. Whoa! Single tap headshots. Thank you very much. That's a great way to start off the account here in this fight. Blazer managing to keep him pinned down just long enough, though, for Julian to get that heal. And while a helmet will have done a little bit of damage, Question Mark and a doozy now have it all to do again. It's very split this time around. Blazer spotted him. Beautiful grenade. Blazer anticipating he was going to go under means that Toxic players with 5 kills take a very nice strategically placed final fight and win game number 1. Congratulations to them. Really, really well played. In 2nd place, we have Question Mark. And in 3rd place, we have Twisted Minds with 4 kills and 10 kills, respectively.